So do you see some kind of structure that would extend to contract workers and to freelance workers and to people that are, loosely associated with the firm? Because one of the bargains that the Committee for Economic Development made was they said, we will cooperate with labor, we will take on the burden of providing pensions, healthcare, other goods to employees. We will be supportive of government that fund things, public goods like education, and. I mean, that was all part of that grand bargain. And of course, pieces of that have now kind of come unraveled. And I don't think we're in a position where we want to go backwards. I think it was a very useful model for the time. I'm not sure it's the model for now. At the same time, I get companies need flexibility, they need flexible workforces and so forth. But at the same time, it's, if you have an entire population of people living precariously, they're not going to be great workers. They're not going to have the time to be great citizens. They're not going to be able to contribute in other ways. So yeah, I wonder if there's some emergent structure that maybe is starting to look at that.
I think let's remember, they created the community CED, Community for Economic Development, that was formed they started working on this well before the war was over. They were formed in 1943. They said the war is going to end and we'll need jobs, people coming home from the front. I think ultimately they're credited with having created the infrastructure that trickled down to business leaders in every single community who amassed the coalitions locally. Change happens in place. Let's remember how powerful place is. And when a community where you know each other across the breakfast table, at the local diner, when they make a commitment to action, then everybody's covering each other's backs and the risk is less to bear. So on a national scale, it's harder to do. It's frankly harder to do. But we do need to start with, I feel this profoundly, that it starts with the mindset of the executive. So I wouldn't be the right one to answer the question. I'd be happy to suggest to you people that you should talk to at the Aspen Institute, my colleagues who run other amazing programs like the Economic Opportunities Program and the programs that deal with financial security as well as jobs. They'll be thinking more about policy and structure. In the Business and Society program, we start with what does the leader believe? We go way up the food chain on Danella Meadows and systems change. And I would start with the question of what are we aiming to do with contract workers? Why are we making the decision we are? What is our true aim there? And is that consistent? Because the first thing we need to do is rethink whether that's the right thing to be doing. Do we accept it as it is, or do we actually at least question the underlying premise of why so many jobs have been put on the other side of the wall? And then there are important, there are agencies that employ millions of people. And I think in this moment, companies like Adecco that are actually raising new questions about, are we assuring our responsibility on the other side of this wall? Are we assuring that those jobs are good jobs in all the respects in which Zane Eptom would talk about it? Mm-hmm. So I think they also are corporate citizens, right? They also have responsibilities. So that is part of our reality. Contract work isn't going away anytime soon. And maybe it shouldn't. I mean, maybe it's a good thing to do. And maybe there's different ways to approach this question, but it does get back to business leadership.